Let me ask you something. How much of your life are you tolerating because you've convinced yourself you don't have another choice? You go to work, you perform, you meet expectations and exceed them. From the outside, everything looks fine. But inside, something feels different. You're tired, disconnected, unfulfilled. And maybe you've started asking yourself, is this really what I worked so hard for? You don't necessarily hate your job. You're just tired of what your life has become. And because you have a good salary, benefits, responsibilities, and people depending on you, you tell yourself, it's not that bad. I should be grateful. Maybe it will get better. So you keep going. And another year passes, then another, until one day you realize you've gotten very good at tolerating a life you don't actually want. And that's what I want to talk about today. Because staying where you are has a cost. And you may be paying far more than you realize. We spend a lot of time thinking about the risk of changing, but what about the risk of not changing? What is another 3 years going to cost you? Another five, another 10? That's what we're going to discuss today. Hi, if you haven't met me, my name is Catherine. I am a coach and business strategist. I help women take the amazing skills, expertise, and the life experience that they've been able to navigate that could help others and turn those into a business or another source of income. So let's dive into the 4 areas that not changing could cost you. The first one is your emotional energy. You may still be functioning, you're getting your work done, you're showing up, but functioning isn't the same as thriving. You can be successful on paper and exhausted inside. And over time, that exhaustion becomes normal. You stop asking, what do I want? And start asking, how do I make this tolerable? That's a dangerous shift because when dissatisfaction becomes normal, you stop looking for something different. You simply learn to live with it. And I know this because I've been there, I've lived it. Here's something I want you to consider. You don't have to hate your job to know you want something different. You can appreciate your career and still want more control over your time. You can be grateful for your paycheck and still want another source of income. You can be good at what you do and still know you don't want to do it forever. Those things can all be true at the same time. And that's where creating something on the side becomes powerful, not as an escape, as an option. So, the second area of not changing may cost you in your financial security. You may think your job is your security, but if your income comes from one employer, your financial future is tied to decisions you don't control. Restructuring happens, layoffs, AI changes, a new leader, a merger, a changing strategy, a decision that has nothing to do with your performance. And suddenly, the income you thought was secure isn't secure anymore. That's why I believe building something on the side of your job isn't about becoming an entrepreneur for the sake of becoming an entrepreneur. It's about reducing your dependence on one paycheck. Imagine knowing you have another way to create income. Maybe it starts small, but over time it becomes something you own, something you control, something that gives you choices. And here's a mistake I don't want you to make. Don't wait until you need another option to start creating one. If you wait until you're laid off, burned out, or financially desperate, you're forced to make decisions under pressure. But when you still have your paycheck, you have room to explore. You can learn. You can experiment, test an idea, build slowly, make mistakes. That's why building alongside your career can be so powerful. You're not running away from something, you're building toward something. Here's the third cost that you may experience from not changing is your time. We tell ourselves, I'll do it someday when things slow down, after this project, after the kids, after I retire. But what if someday keeps moving? Money can be replaced, a job can be replaced, a business can be rebuilt, time cannot. And I'm not saying you need to spend every free minute building a business. I am saying that you need to decide whether creating a different future matters enough to make some room for it. 3 hours a week can become 12 hours a month. Small steps compound, but only if you start. And here's what I want you to consider. You may not need to become someone completely different to create something of your own. You may already have much of what you need. Which brings me to the fourth cost. The fourth cost of not changing or doing something different could be the value you're leaving on the table, your skills, your expertise, the problems you've learned to solve, and the mistakes you've learned from that could help someone else. The people you've helped, the perspective you've developed, and years of experience, that has value. But you may have convinced yourself that it only has value inside your company. It doesn't. There are people who need what you know. The question is, what could you create from this value that you have? Maybe it's consulting, coaching, a service, a digital product, something else entirely. You don't have to know the answer today, but you do need to start asking the question, because here's what concerns me the most. It's not that you have a job you don't love. It's that you may have slowly resigned yourself to live a life you don't want. You tell yourself, this is just how it is. I'm too far along to change. I don't have the time. I wouldn't know what to do. Maybe I'll figure it out later. But what if those aren't facts? What if they're simply the reasons you've learned to live with your circumstances? I'm not telling you to quit your job today, not at all. That is not practical. I'm not telling you to take a reckless leap. I'm telling you to stop treating quitting as your only alternative. There is another path. You can keep your job and build something alongside it. You can create another source of income. You can develop an asset that belongs to you. You can create options before you desperately need them. So here's the question I want you to sit with. Are you actually choosing this life, or have you simply gotten used to it? Because those are two different things. And if there's a part of you saying, there has to be more than this, don't ignore it. You don't need to know exactly what the next chapter looks like. You just need to be willing to explore it. And if you're thinking, okay, but what could I actually build? Start there. Not with a logo, not a website, not a business name. Start with you, your skills, your expertise, your experience, the problems you know how to solve, and the people you could help. I've created a 4-part framework for turning your skills into a business while keeping your 9 to 5 to help you do exactly that. And I want you to actually use it. Don't download it and let it sit in a folder. Use the prompt. Answer the questions honestly, because the better you answer them, the better the possibilities you'll uncover. You may discover a business idea. You may discover a new income stream. Or you may simply discover that you have 4 more options than you realize. Let me leave you with this. You do not have to quit your job to change your life. But you do have to stop waiting for your life to change on its own. Because the longer you tolerate a life you don't want, the easier it becomes to believe it's the only life available to you. It isn't. Your career is part of your story. It doesn't have to be the whole story. Download the 4-part framework, this guide. The link is in the description below. Use the prompt. Explore what's possible and start building your next option before you need it. Because you have more skills, experience, and possibilities than you may have ever been taught to believe. Thank you for stopping by to watch this video. I hope that you will come back by, because my channel is about helping you discover your skills and seeing how you can turn those into income or start a business. And if you know a woman who could benefit from this video, do forward it to her. I hope that you will also make sure that you don't miss a video by subscribing. Thank you again, and I hope to see you in the next video.